it live. We're doing it
Wilderness is
live.
okay?
We're doing
All
it
right.
live.
All right, sure.
Yo, guys,
Sure.
welcome. Just got done with Rodney. If you had a chance, you're coming over from Teddy and Rodney Talk Crypto. We had special guest Dusty Tillerson. For the guys that missed it, the relationship between me and Dusty is he is my gym buddy. We are good friends. And we've hung out for how long? Forever, right?
5-6 years at this point in time, man.
5-6 years.
6 years. 6 years actually in March.
6 years.
Time flies, right?
It does. And what? We have
man.
the same birthday weekend. Oh,
We do.
snap.
We do.
We're both Leos at heart. So it was just a friendship made for us. And it is such a great feeling to now bring him up and listen to this guy's expertise, right? Just like I'm an expert in AWS, I believe I am an expert. Dusty's an expert in real estate and finance. That's not how I started this relationship. We were just good old-fashioned drinking buddies. I made cider, he drank it. I enjoyed watching the
reactions
reactions
to it. So you guys may know I am a friend of Tasia on the other stream that I was with Ronnie and him. And just for a little bit of my background, I've been in the finance and accounting industry for a real estate development company for the past 4 or 5 years. Before that, I was in public accounting, so I saw all these businesses go by and saw all types of people run things. I know a little bit about the stock market. I'm no expert. I'm not going to pretend to be one, but I do understand how things how things happen and how they sort of work from a large scale thing. And so Tasia told me about this coin.
Right, you're using my real life name. They're gonna get confused. Like, who the heck is this guy?
Teddy.
By the way, I'm completely doxxed. You guys can look up my full real life name. You can find all those details on Instagram. My AWS certificates have it. If you can pronounce it, good job. I don't try to
he's
flex
not hiding
my real life
He's from
name.
India, and every single if you go to
There's
India, you'll see everyone looks like him. So
exactly.
It's really hard to find. Just like if you go to Europe, and you'll look like everyone looks like me. Very, very similar. No, Teddy told me about this coin, and it's based on a real estate investment coin, and they have this company where they're gonna take the profits they're gonna take your coin, your investment in the coin, and they're going to buy real estate commercial properties with it. And I was like, Teddy, that sounds a lot like a real estate investment trust company that's part of the stock exchange. So I looked a little bit more into it, and I was like, Teddy, this is just a real estate investment company without any of the safeguards with your money. And he goes, yeah, I need you to tell that to people, because I thought something was wrong too. And I was like, yeah, what they're promising, we're going to have 30 properties and it's going to be $3.5 million of income that's going to come in and you're going to get a slice of the pie. I was like, they're promising a lot of things without like explaining any of the pitfalls or the strategy, how they're going to overcome those pitfalls. So Teddy's like, please come on, you need to explain this. They're going to think I'm just fudding everyone. And I'm like, well, I mean, I kind of am at this point.
Did I not tell you that? I'm like, you're telling me this, so I'm doing what? The leg curls at the gym, do I never skip leg day, he says, right?
Never skip it.
Yeah,
so he's like, okay, I kind of understand. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll come on and explain how a real estate investment trust works and how this is basically just that, but not without any of the safeguards. And like I said, I have no connection to pretty much any crypto. I don't own any crypto currently. I have in the past, but I don't own any now. I've kind of gotten out of that mainly because I just haven't figured out one that I want that's also affordable. I wish I could afford many Bitcoin, but I can't. So. That's kind of where I am right now. So yeah, Teddy, you want to take it away?
Yeah, no, basically I completely, like, even me trying to repeat what you told me, like real estate trust fund company, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And then you're like, Teddy, this is what it is. This is what you need to do. Don't invest. And I'm like, okay. Bro, wait, you telling me not invest is not going to stop X amount of 330K of Saitama holders ready to go and go into this.
And so let's just dial back. We'll walk back real quick. So a real estate investment trust is a company that owns a bunch of real estate buildings, normally commercial real estate. And what happens is they own these buildings. They own a portion of the land the buildings are on, normally, not always. And they'll look for tenants to rent in their building. mainly like lawyer firms, when you can have manufacturing firms, any kind of business that doesn't want to own their own building and do the upkeep and pay the property taxes. They'll own those things. They'll charge them a rental fee. They'll sign up in their lease. They'll be renting for 10 years, let's say. You collect that income. You use that revenue, let's call it. We get that rental revenue. And then you pay off the expenses that are normal cost of the business, obviously. And then you get down to the bottom line, which is the net income. So what this coin is promising is you buy into this coin. They're going to use that money from the coin to just buy these rental properties in this other separate company. And then when this separate company owns all these commercial real estates, well, they're going to upkeep all these commercial properties. And then after bottom line, after they do all the expenses and whatnot, whatever that income is going to go back to the coin. Now, the way that works in an investment trust is you actually have the company set up. You buy stock into that company. And so that's where the company gets its money, its cash flow, to then buy the properties, to upkeep the properties. And then after the fact, when you get to the bottom line, they get X amount of net income, and then they use that up to break up and do dividends to the stockholders. So in like a stock exchange, that's how that works. They're basically saying it's doing the same thing with this coin, but like there's no way of tracking it with the coin. They're removing that step of having that be an actual coin. So what I'm basically saying is, if you love the business idea, which there are lots of successful real estate investment trusts out there, then just invest in one of those. You're basically throwing your money into a startup of real estate investment trust without any of the safeguards of something on the New York Stock Exchange, which is kind of where we kind of left off with it. So we started going through the white papers, and more and more things stood out to me. Like, this seems more and more a little sketchy of a project. One of those things where they don't give enough information if this is what they can do. I also said that if you want to believe that all these guys are on the up and up, and I'm not saying they aren't. If they are on the up, they have market pitfalls they got to come over. Right now, we're coming out of a pandemic, and a lot of real estate offices are struggling because people aren't going to re-up their leases because people are working from home, and they've continued to work from home. And so if you don't have any employees in the office, why are you renting an office space in a building? So that's kind of where the pitfall is with that. So if you don't have any tenants, you don't have any leases, then or lessors, leases. No, if you don't have any leases, then obviously you can't collect any revenue. So then you just have these empty buildings that are just sucking the money dry, and you're never going to see a return on your investment if you put it into this coin. So if they have a way to address that, I'd love to know it. They said they barely even said that they had all these rental. Then I don't see a level of people that have already agreed to say, oh, this is our projection that we're going to buy, right? So we want to buy this particular building, and we know this building's profitable because these people sign leases for the next 15 years. So we're going to have rental revenue for the next 15 years. So clearly you want to invest in our coin because you want a piece of this action. But they're not promising it. They're just saying, oh, we want to use it to start buying properties. I was like, well, they should already have something if they want to start with it. Most companies, before they go to the stock exchange, they're private and they have private ownership, and they already have that private equity to when they go to that stock exchange, they have a product that people already want to buy because they're already established. This coin doesn't seem established at all. So a lot of red flags is what I'm getting just from the project as a whole. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It promises a lot of things without showing any of that being like, they don't showing any of like how they're actually going to accomplish those goals in that project. So that's what I told Teddy. He goes, oh, that's great. That's a lot of information. I don't know if I can repeat that all. Can you please come on and explain it to my viewers? So,
dude, sure. I would not be. That's like me asking you to explain the AWS architecture layer for VPC and subnets and get into network ACLs and really explain how you would not be able to do it. I could be like, Dusty, say it like this. And you could go back and like, hey, someone else told me to say this, and that's why I'll mispronounce things, stuff like that. So I was like, I ain't doing this. You come on, you explain it to them, because I'm not the only one considering buying SaitaRealty, right? So I actually just got out of Terra to be ready to buy the Saitama dip, but Saitama's at like 19 right now, because no matter what, it is going to pump. And if I get in, I'm going to take profits when it pumps, and I'll pull out. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been preaching. I also used to preach the HODL mentality, like hold on to the crypto, ride it forever. Look what that did for a lot of people with Saitama, right? You hold it and it just continues to fall. It's not just Saitama, literally any coin. You buy what you think is a good entry point, and then the price just keeps dipping. Right. So I don't want that to continue to happen in the space. So when Dusty was like, whoa, real estate, we're talking regulation now. We're talking, there's certain numbers he has to run. And he's like, Teddy, I'm in this business. I literally do this. And I'm like, okay, this is
good. I need to pay attention. I need to pay attention.
I need you to repeat exactly. And I remember looking at Dusty. I'm like, Dusty, I need to repeat exactly what you just said, but except on the live stream. I don't know if it's going to be my live stream because I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get as much people attraction, right? My channel is still growing, but I knew that if I got you to Rodney's and I gave you that exposure, that they would believe you, because just like they believe me
it's
when
not
I'm
even
like,
about believing me. Like, anyone can look this stuff up on their own. Nothing I'm saying is not true. I mean, there's regulations in place, and Molten Metal puts a good, interesting question. If there's no licensed real estate broker in the company and it's using realty in its name, is it fraud? No, not necessarily. It depends on the state, depends on the jurisdiction, depends on the town. You can call whatever you want realty. Like, you don't actually have to be a realtor to use that in the name. There's no fraud in that. They're not pretending to be a broker. They're saying that they're going to become a landlord. So that's a little bit different than a broker. A broker would sell you and be like the middleman that would sell like a house to someone or a bigger building, and then they do all the brokerage fees and they write up a lease and do all that stuff. Just because they have realty in the name does not mean that they're pretending to be a realtor. They could have a realty team on it, a realtor team on it, but it's not necessarily fraud. The issue with the thing is, and they also don't ever need a real estate license for to buy buildings. You can buy buildings without a realtor involved. It's rare. It's probably not going to happen in a commercial real estate setting because there's way too much legal things that you're going to open yourself up to if you do it that way. But if you did, like, someone said, oh, this is my house, I'm selling it for $100,000. I know you're my buddy, I want you to take it. You can do that without having a license. You can just say, oh, we'll get our 2 attorneys involved and they'll write something up and make the deal happen that way. So they could do that. Like, you don't need to do that, but I highly doubt that if they're buying these, they said 30 rental properties or something like that. I highly doubt if they're buying 30 rental properties that they're going to do it like without a realtor or whatever like that. They're going to need that. They're going to need that. They're going to need attorneys. There's a lot of fees and a lot of startup costs that they're getting from this coin with like, I don't know how long people want to hold on to this coin, whether they're going to think they're going to start getting profits right away. Like, I don't see that happening, other than they're just going to put the money in the coin, see it rise a little bit, and then they're going to yank it right out. So just on their business model alone, it's hard to believe that it's like one of those ones you want to hold for a long time based on these promised dividends that don't make a lot of sense to how they're actually going to give them to you.
Wait, so does this ecosystem make sense to you, Dusty? Like the commercial land development, what they're trying to do?
Development, create property opportunities for franchises. So a franchise like McDonald's or something to utilize land for business structures and complexes. Okay, that's great. So they want to develop a place to put a McDonald's, let's say, right? All right, do they own that land yet? It doesn't look like they own that land yet. Maybe they do. I'd love for them to show where they own the land, where they plan on doing it. If they own a piece of property that's in the middle of nowhere, well, that's not worth anything. You're not going to put a Target there. Like, no one's going to buy the Target. Target doesn't want to go there. Like, they're saying that they have these things for franchises. Well, who are they in connection with these franchises, in which that franchise wants to put a building there for the other people to own, for them to rent out of? Like, it's a lot of assumptions here. They're saying they want to do this, but they're not showing a roadmap to success.
Okay. So then what about like business complexes, zero emission homes? Do you have insight on zero emission homes?
Zero emission homes. Okay, so we're in this type of world where everyone's concerned about the environment, and being a rich country, we can worry about stuff like that, right? So zero emission home is like, okay, all of my energy is coming from wind or solar, or we don't talk about this often, but nuclear energy is another one that you can get from. But let's say you get all these solar panels that are like, you have a solar farm right next to this building. That solar farm may not generate enough power depending on what kind of building it is. Now, if it's a small building that you don't really need like a lot of energy for, you can have a solar farm that can basically provide it year round, and then that becomes a zero emission home. I don't know of many. I don't know where they'd be putting these things. So that'd be another question. Where's the market in which you're going to have a solar farm next to all these houses, or you're going to have a huge solar farm in with these houses, and then you're going to quit zero emissions? They're going to be off the grid. They're going to be self-sustaining. Who's going to buy
I want
those
to say
companies?
Texas. I think they're registered in Texas or Massachusetts.
Well, just because you're registered in a state just means you can do business in the state, but you can do it in other. You can buy property in other places. You just pay other taxes.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm thinking realistically, like the amount of land they would need to run, something that's profitable for me.
you can put houses and you can have solar panels on the house.
Okay.
That's a lot of people do that. From a building standpoint, I don't necessarily recommend it. I do work for a construction company, so when you put solar panels on the roof, it does lower the amount of land you need. However, if
Mhm.
you have problems with that roof, let's say it leaks, well, now you have more like incurred costs because you got to remove the solar panels to get them off the roof, to refix the roof, to put them back on. So there's like a lot of issues with that thing. So once again, not very clear of what they mean. They say solar panels and airtight insulation. That doesn't mean anything. Any building, any home you buy now is going to be airtight for the most part, unless you get someone who's super cheap and they cut costs everywhere and promise you the lowest like price to buy in. Like, yeah, that doesn't really mean much to me. Just seeing zero emission homes, that's just another marketing big couple buzzwords they use
What's
without a lot
weird
of
is they have
information.
zero emission homes. They're like the SaitaRealty ecosystem, and then they talk about the ecosystem again, and then they talk about what their zero emission homes are going to do.
Yeah, well, here's the thing too. When they talk about zero emissions and they're eliminating carbons and whatnot, yet they're a cryptocurrency. So they're using a ton of, fossil fuels to run the servers and the grid to fuel their cryptocurrency. I'm like,
It's not them running it, right? Other
yeah,
nodes
I
are
know,
running
but
it.
come on, it's a little, a little hypocritical there. Just on
But
that
that
alone.
can be said for all cryptos in this
Oh
space,
yeah,
right?
but
They all have
they're
utilities
not promising. They're
as
promising
their.
zero emission homes. They're saying, oh, well, basically saying we care about the environment, but yeah, I don't know if that's true. They're not necessarily saying that. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but that's kind of what I'm getting. It's what I'm inferring, not
So
necessarily what
this
they're
is the
implying.
other thing. Uh, by the way, the OG Ganjagoon himself, he has been with the channel since the beginning. The very first person to change his name to the OG Ganjagoon. I'm feeling it, Dusty. You feeling it, Dusty?
I'm feeling it, Dusty.
If you
Oh,
are,
Dusty.
if you know who this is, and I know who this is, so if you can put two and two together, then you know.
I know who it is.
Exactly. It's one of my burner accounts. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Always
kidding. It
is.
really isn't.
Always is.
No, one time he came on a Twitter space and people were like, "Who's this guy that's just like talking like crazy?" And he's like, "I'm so mad about people fighting and not." I'm like, "Bro, relax, chill out. It's okay. We'll make profits. We're gonna be fine." And he still comes back to this channel because you know what? This is where we're at.
He knows. He knows.
Sergeant Bugs Guns hates the Ganja Goons. Oh no, Bugs, what did I do? So yeah.
Okay.
I have regulars that come in. Bugs Guns is one of the first regulars that has came to our channel as well. Both with Rodney's stream and my stream. Rodney calls us following the Degens. I'm going with the Ganja Goons. Together we rise. Regardless, right? Bugs Guns. He hates me one day. He loves me the next day. Hates me one day. Loves me the next day.
I understand that. I have the same feelings towards you all the time.
I know. I can tell. Every time the workout is harder, I'm like, he hates me. That's why he wants me to do this. You're like, Teddy, we're gonna do a sled push. I'm putting like what 225 pounds on this.
Yeah.
Good luck. I'm like, bro, that's my entire body weight. Like, what do you mean? I won't be able to push this.
Push yourself a little bit, Teddy.
I will. So other fun things, right? They talk about this non-profit affordable housing.
So this is where, and we said this on Rodney's stream too. He pointed out, and I knew this was the case. They're trying to tug on your heartstrings. They're doing the emotional appeal. Oh, these guys are going to try to help people out. Now, affordable housing is important. You do need it to a certain extent. They're saying they're going to do this. However, to do affordable housing, you do need to get like government funding. You need to have the Section 8 housing. You need to go through a legal type of thing to get all that stuff. You can't just do non-profit. Like SaitaRealty, from my understanding, isn't a not-for-profit. So how are they going to be doing not-for-profit, but then also for-profit things unless they're going to spin off as a separate LLC? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, they can say the housing's affordable, but then they say it'll be 100% not-profit for design for homeless. So are they just going to give it away? Or they're going to have a separate LLC? You can't just start these things up. Like, there's a lot of questions behind it of how are they planning on doing this? They just said, we're going to do this. Okay, my question is, how are you going to do that? And that's a whole nother field too. You just don't walk into that. I mean, you have government contracts, you have funding, you get grants for stuff like that. But if you're a for-profit, it's hard to do. Like, you'd have to set up, like, there are ways around it and there are ways to do it, but do they know how to do it? That's the question. I don't right now, looking from what I've seen and what I've seen in the other stream, I don't have a lot of faith that's what I want.
So I noticed the little things, right? So like one of the main things was they've been working on this months and months ago. Version 1 was supposed to be released 03/2022, which 03 has not even happened, right? So this feels like it was rushed to get out there because of the whole Lily Finance, that other token we were talking about that went for the fair launch on Uniswap.
Yeah.
And now we come out with this. There is, if I have a question, how long does it take to come up with the real estate trust plan, right? A go-to-market strategy. They said they've been working on it for months. Is that realistic, or like is this something like you spend 2 solid months, you can come up with the plan and have a go-to-market strategy?
You can go with the plan, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a successful plan. You can make anything up and say, I'm going to do it, and this time I'm going to do it. It may not be right. You may be skipping steps. It seems relatively rushed. A couple months, like most real estate firms take probably a year. Like, first they set up the company and the LLC is set up. Maybe they've already done it. It looks like they've already done that portion of it. And then you need a target location of what you're going to buy. Do they have that? They didn't, as far as I know, they haven't disclosed any of that. And I get why they wouldn't. There is a market behind it. Like, you don't want to let everyone know what you're going to do when you like have that target place you're going to buy. But normally people tell you what market you're targeting, at least. Like, oh, we want to get the Houston area. We want to get this part of Houston, or this part of, let's use Massachusetts, this part of Boston type of thing. There's X amount of these houses or real estate properties already signed in this particular market that are already up for sale, that are already on the market. Maybe they're trying to get things that go to auction. Maybe they're looking for that. They didn't really specify any of that. They just say business complexes. Well, what does that mean? What type of business are they targeting? There's so many types of businesses. Real estate, commercial. Okay, that can mean anything that pays rent, like, which is right. Anything. Like, they gotta be more directed to where it is. And maybe they've released something since what I'm seeing right now. But as far as my knowledge, this is it. This is everything that they put forward as what their project's going to be. And to me, and I'm sure with a lot of other people looking to put their money into maybe a long-term coin to hold, or maybe they just want a quick, let's see how good it is, how much it goes up and down. I don't really know. But what I do know is most times when you have a design like this, you get a lot more information when you're asking for money to buy millions of dollars of real estate, is which they're promising us. And you can't just give us, oh, we're going to do affordable housing, and that's why we're going to have what they promised, $3.5 million in revenue.
Yeah.
You gotta give me more than just that. Like, that's just a number that they came up with. So
all right. So one of the things I do want to listen to a few bits of this AMA, because this is one of the only AMAs. I think you've listened to it too, right? The Saitama AMA.
Yeah.
With Russ, I'm just gonna randomly pick random points. Listen in. Let's see if he says anything that you have a reaction to.
Maybe you don't realize that
you can hear
housing. Because you're doing it for free. You're not doing it for free because you can actually utilize government contracts and you can get paid by the government for those housings. Then you can also set up a transportation system to allow veterans to travel from.
Okay, stop it right there. Just stop it right there.
There's a whole.
You see how good I am at picking spots of entry to listen in on.
He is correct, Teddy. You do get paid from the government to do those contracts, but to get those grants from the government, you have to follow those to the letter of the T. You can't just be spending it willy-nilly. You can't just be cutting corners here and there. People are going to know they're going to get it. Like, here's a great example that happened recently in Connecticut. So Hartford, Connecticut wanted to build this baseball park, right, in the downtown Hartford area, and they hired this construction firm, right? So that's technically a quote-unquote grant from the government to build a baseball park. They low bid, and then they had to get more and more money from the government, more and more money from the city. The state, I think, probably gave some more money too to get it in there. And people were royally pissed that they're getting taxed on this. So these guys, if they're saying you're going to get paid from the government to make this housing, that's true. But if you do a shitty job making the housing, well, people are going to be pissed. They're going to be demanding the head of SaitaRealty. And let's say they do a good job, right? Well, they got to follow those contracts to the T. They have to make sure they are delivering what they promised to the government, or they're not going to get it. And most of the Section 8 housing is not just a contract. It's usually a grant, a government grant. And so you have to track all that spending. Do they have that infrastructure in place just to do their accounting? I don't know. I've seen their team. It doesn't seem very big. Is SaitaRealty, is that a separate offshoot to where they have a whole like actual team? I mean, this isn't grant accounting and contract accounting. It's not simple things. I mean, it seems all well and good, but like, okay, they want to do this. They want to get Section 8 housing and they're going to mix this in with real estate. They're going in two opposite direction markets. And that just seems strange. I mean, you could do that, but you're really spreading yourself thin when you do that. Like it's opening a can of worms. Like you're doing Section 8 housing, and let's say you're doing triple net lease commercial real estate, getting a shit ton of rent from that. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense why you'd spread yourself that thin. But hey, you know, more power to them, I guess.
Let's see what Russ actually says.
Whole bunch of revenue that can be generated through that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So
no, there's a ton of grants and things like that. And for people that don't know, like I'm actually 100% disabled vet, so it really kind of hits home for me as well. So there's a lot of stuff that we want to do involving that. And as far as, you know, with low income, there's tons of state and federal grants available that we can utilize too. And there's so much money that's just sitting there waiting for organizations like this to come and partner with to kind of lead it up, because the like government entities, you know, state and federal allocate funds for these reasons. And a lot of times they just sit there because there's no real good place to put it. Right. So like we're going to start this initiative. So we'll have already coming to the table a large sum of money that we can put up, and then we can get it matched by state and federal entities so we can do much more with it. So yeah, it's a big initiative. So we're pretty excited about that aspect too. So there's a lot of moving parts, and it's going to really expand over time.
Okay.
You know, it's crypto, everything.
Just to answer that. So he said there's a lot of money on the table from the government, and then they're going to match it. They need a grant writer to do that. So you don't just say, oh, federal government, this is our project. It's just sitting there. Let's apply for this grant. He could do that. They can apply for it. They may not get it. So what happens when they don't get that grant? Well, then they can't continue on with that project.
Right.
You know, there's plenty of other people that are going out to bid that are doing the same thing. He's right. There's a lot of money out there, but the real estate development industry they already have people that work with the government. You already have people already established in this field. You have a newcomer come in. It's very hard to come into that market. You got to get a little lucky. You got to know someone. Does he know anyone? Does he know who he's going to contact to get these federal and state grants?
I guess he's worked at Berkshire Hathaway, so he must have.
Berkshire, but that's like a realtor, right?
Okay.
So he hasn't worked with these grant people.
Supposedly he's a big shot, man. Supposedly he makes money and everything. Like I'm 100% telling you what the.
No, I'm not doubting his credentials. I'm
me.
just saying they're being very aggressive with their strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And they may have to be. And I'm putting out the potential pitfalls, and I'm asking, like, okay, he is right. All these things can happen. I have not seen the overhead that they've given us. Do they have an overhead team? Do they have a grant writing staff? How are they going to do these things? He's just saying we're going to do these things. Okay, I would like to see the path.
No, we have 50 minutes for an explanation. Don't you worry, buddy.
We move so fast, but it'll be a little bit slower pace. But nonetheless, it's still pretty revolutionary.
I found it interesting every time I've ever heard you.
By the way, Saitama is revolutionary. SaitaRealty is revolutionary. Both are revolutionary.
Everything's revolutionary.
Every time I've ever heard you speak, or even when you speak now, what's really cool, what I think people miss, is the fact that you don't ever miss a beat. You clearly know what you're speaking about in the moment. You know, if you met anybody that owns a business, most of those guys have no idea what's going on. They have somebody else running the company, and they're like, "Yeah, we build sneakers. It's cool."
But we do stuff, not hands-on.
The CEO of Nike says that.
But
the CEO of Nike says that we make sneakers, and look at us.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
crazy because, I mean, SaitaRealty, in fact, isn't even out yet. But the way you speak, it's without missing a beat. You know everything that's going on. It's like you almost studied it or had been talking about it so much. You have spoke about it so much that it literally just pours out of your mouth like water. It's perfect. Like Bruce Lee said, be water.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, every time we put something together like this, it's never just like spur of the moment, random thoughts. It's very methodical, and everything that we do is very strategic and methodical. So even though we're talking now, and even to the community, like it's the first time that we're talking about it, like we've had conversations within the development team for months, right? And I've had these things in my brain, like how it's going to work in my head for months, right? So when I formulate a plan and put things together, it's always very strategic. So when it actually does come out of my mouth, it's already formulated into a solid plan because I already put all the pieces.
What?
It's just, I don't know. He's talking all this big game, and that's fine. But if he does know what he's talking about, why wouldn't he just do the real estate investment trust on the stock exchange? Why does he want to like bypass all these regulations that he's basically doing by going through crypto?
Because his brand is crypto. Saitama needs to grow, and this is the way that it's going to grow.
I get. He's shilling the coin. That's why. I don't know if he believes in the actual like the actual LLC. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I guess I'm fudding really hard there, Teddy. But keep going.
I'm not even trying to make you FUD, but like you understand.
Everything's going off in my head. I'm not saying he's not true or he's not believing in what he's selling. It's just, to me, it seems strange someone would go this avenue. Maybe he's trying to be the first of its kind.
Right.
It just seems, like I said, it just seems a little pie in the sky for me. That's about it. Keep going.
In place before we actually put it on paper. So yeah, I mean, but you have to, right? You have to be very methodical in what we do. And I know people will probably argue with this fact, but even with Saitama, everything we do is very methodical. Even if we have, delays on certain things, it's all part of the plan. Like nothing is by chance and nothing is on accident, right? Everything that we've done thus far is to get us from where we started to where we want to be eventually. And that where we want to be is years down the road, not tomorrow or next month, but yeah, and this is just a piece of the puzzle that we're going to inject into it. So,
yeah, I found it also interesting with SaitaRealty and how you're planning on doing it. You're hitting, again, we talked about the passive income, but you're actually hitting multiple different brackets of rental income, buying and flipping and returns on houses, business income, housing grants, and things like that. You're hitting.
Dude, by the way, I never knew Cryptobolics already knew all this information. It almost feels like they were planted questions. The way
they probably were. Most
like he's reading off a script or something, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes you get paid.
This is a marketing thing. He's gonna have that. That makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah. When you want to do marketing, when you're trying to promote your business, you're not trying to do gotcha questions. So I get that. Like I get that. It's marketing. It's important. I'm not gonna tell him like, oh yeah, well that was a layup. I was like, well, it should be. You're promoting a company. I get that. You know what I mean? It's just,
Molten Metal says he is basically selling stocks, but he's doing it with the crypto token. We shall see.
No, that's exactly what he's doing. He's doing it with a crypto token to where he's getting around regulations by doing so. That's how he's doing it. I understand how he's doing it. It's just a real estate investment trust. That's it.
Guys, by the way, where else are you going to get Dusty Tillerson in the house in Teddy Ganja's stream, guys? Like the stream. Who I have given Teddy Dusty's Twitter in the chat, as well as tagged it on a Twitter post. Go follow him on Twitter. He is a real subject matter expert, SME, on realty, real estate and finances, right?
This finance, is what you live I'd say breathe. Finance, real estate, construction, and a little bit of business overall. No, I'm not crazy, but I do know a little bit about that.
And this is Cryptobolics, the person on the left, and the person on the right is our boy, Russ Armand, COO of Saitama.
Oh, so he's the chief operating officer.
There is no CEO in Saitama. Saitama does not believe in CEOs. You know what's funny? I have had clients where they don't have titles. I've had clients where they don't even have a president. Or they're just all titleless. But even being in those companies, everyone knows who the CEO is. It's like, he doesn't have the title, but it's that guy.
The one in charge. Everyone has, every company, every country, everything has a leader. Yeah, Rorschach, you're right. Yep, it is basically it screams like it's a way around a REIT.
What is a REIT? What is
a real estate investment trust? It's a lot of documentation, a lot of legal fees to become one. A lot of people's 401ks are in it. People can buy it on the New York Stock Exchange. This is not something new or anything crazy, but it's basically they buy buildings, they collect rent, and you get X amount of dollars based on the income, and you get dividends based on their income that they have throughout how they run their buildings and who they get to rent from them. But this is screaming a way around a REIT. It's one of those ways they're getting investment money without like having to go through any of the Security and Exchange Commission. So
from inside sources, SaitaRealty will be on MetaMask first to create liquidity. What is wrong with SaitaRealty investing into REITs and returning
nothing?
profits?
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that by chance. But the thing that I'm saying is, since they're doing this and they're promising you're going to get returning profits, there's a big chance that they never get those profits to return. So you never see that back. That is what I am saying. Because when you give them that, when you buy this crypto, you are giving them the money and you're not getting a stake in the actual LLC that will be owning these properties. Unless they have something where it's in their language where it says, oh, yes, this crypto will be put directly into the thing, and into the LLC, and then it will be used out of the LLC to buy money to get fiat to buy these things, then yes. But they haven't explained it. They haven't shown it. And if they can answer it that way, then I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. They're basically just using the crypto to finance the REIT. But right now it's like they're having that one extra step, that one extra buffer to where it's going to fiat and then going to the LLC. So it's like, where is this? How do we know what percentage we own of the company? How much is this? They're promising a REIT through crypto without like any of the tying to the REIT itself or the LLC itself. And you're right.
So by the way, Dooney Isa, I just want to tell you the background was I was ready to invest in SaitaRealty. I was running the numbers by Dusty and just telling him, you know how I talked to you, Dusty. I was like, yo, I want to invest in this crypto. It's doing real estate. This is what they're gonna do. It sounds like it's a new utility. And I literally told Dusty, like, Dusty, when I first told you this, did I not say, yo, I'm gonna invest in this?
And you were like, I run the numbers. This is going to be really good. This is going to be gains. They're promising a dividend. And I saw in the chat, it says they don't promise it. You're right. Real REITs do not promise a dividend because some years you can't pay one. But these like saying, oh, you're going to get one. And it's like, you can't promise that. Like you can't promise you're going to have the tenants paying. You're not going to have empty buildings, that you're not going to have losses. You can't promise that. Like, you're right. There's another one saying, yeah, just invest and sell it quick 10%. Yeah,
that's exactly what I told you I was gonna do. Yo, Dooney Isa, you are reading my mind. That's exactly what I was. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
There's nothing wrong to get ahead of it, buy it, and then sell it for the flop. It's fine if you want to do it that way. You're doing that kind of day trading. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying don't try to do that. I'm not telling you where to put your money. I'm just saying if you're expecting to get a dividend and he's promising that, red flags go up with that. That's all I'm saying. That's a red flag for the actual project. So it's one of those things. So if you want to hold, you may lose everything. You don't really know. But I know when he's promising these dividends, like, yeah, it's a
I believe you know how you are with pump and dumps. Dab Tool 420. He always makes me laugh. By the way, he's hilarious.
He's right though. You jump in when it's the beginning. Just jump out for the suckers coming before you lose everything. Yeah, it's fine. Pump and dumps. Make sure you get it on the pump and not on the dump.
Yep. So yes, Dooney, I appreciate you asking that question because if you thought about it, then other people may be like, "Oh, Teddy, why are you doing this? Why are you pointing this out? Why are you funding?" Say, I'm not even trying to, guys. I'm literally bringing a subject matter expert to the table.
Don't have unbelievable. I'm saying for the people that have unbelievable, unwavering faith in the project that one day it's going to make a shit ton of money, to rethink it. The pump and dump people, the people that are day trading, swing traders, all that good stuff. Yeah, you do whatever you want. You know, honestly, you're just looking to get. Oh, well, here's my quick gains. Here's my quick gains. That's fine. I get it. People, that's how people want to do things. I have no problem with that. Hey, as long as you're making money, that's the important thing, right?
Yo, numbnuts and Russ we trust, and I did trust, and I still do trust somewhat. I will be seeing Russ in Crypto Dubai, so gotta have good exposure. I'm definitely gonna come with him to be like, yo, there was this guy, Dusty Tillerson. He came on my channel. He explained real estate like this to me. What do you have to say about that? Pointing the camera at his face. Freedom Cowboy token, 25% buy and sell tax to fund transportation and weapons to volunteer fighters to Ukraine. Okay. I also saw Alonso Sanchez said that Russia pushing into Kyiv. So looks like, the last time we heard war news, crypto dipped like 700%, or the market dipped 700%, then regained value the same day where it only dropped 200%. And now we've eaten that entire dip.
Yeah, well, that happens, with wartime economy and all that stuff. So,
Yes, it is not fun spreading. It is a good game plan. All I'm trying to say is, just like Dusty told me, hey, Teddy, don't hold on to this forever. Make your money, get out. That's because at first I'm like, dude, this is real estate. Real estate only goes up. Like, these are things I said to Dusty, right? I'm like, real estate only goes up like 3.5 million now. In 10 years, it's going to be like 30 million. No,
I'm like, you don't own any of that real estate. You're not part of the company. Like, you're not going to own it. You invest in real estate, like actually buy real land with your gains. Like, that's always, I mean, I know it's a boomer topic to diversify your investments, but you should diversify some of your investments. Have a little bit in crypto, have a little bit in real estate, have some of it in gold, have some of it in silver, and also have some in gun and ammunitions if you're an American.
I know you're a big gun guy, and I cannot own any. They won't let me. So
yeah. I wouldn't want you to have any.
They don't trust me. I'm like, come on.
Come on. What would you tell me? What you were the thank you come again type of Brown? You were
I know. Hello, brother. How are you? I'm like, hello, brother. I'm like, so there is a story, and Dusty, I have to share it, right?
Yeah.
So Dusty and I have a friend, and he got married in, what was it? Thompsonville, Connecticut, in Lord Thompson's manor. Dude, this wedding was beyond, it was crazy, right? They rented out the entire manor. We stayed overnight. Yeah. Dusty goes over there. At some point, something happened where someone needed super glue, and they decided to send Dusty and Teddy to go get the super glue. So I'm like, okay, punch it into the thing. There's only one convenience store in Thompsonville that was near the venue. So I'm like,
literally out in the middle of the woods.
No, so you wanted to ride whatever car you had. I'm like, no, bro, I brought the Mercedes. Let's jump in the back. That was your first time in the Mercedes.
Yeah, it was the first time in the Mercedes.
Mercedes real good.
Yeah, Mercedes is real good. I can vouch to that. It was great.
We went over potholes that you were like, why am I not even feeling these potholes? I'm like, that's the air comfort in the S550. Because I think back then, it's 2013 was when I got it. So it was relatively new. Now, all the new models surpass it, right? So we finally try to go for the super glue, and we find the convenience store. We go to the convenience store, and as we're going in, almost every single person in the convenience store was an American dude. But the guy running the convenience store was a brown person just like me. I don't know what ethnicity, but as soon as I walk through the door, Dusty walks in first, says nothing to him. I walk through the door, and he turns. He's like, hello, brother. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know this guy. I'm like, hey.
I'm just like, what's going on? What is going on? Why is this happening? And I remember we buy our stuff, and I get we get the super glue and whatnot, and Teddy's like, oh, I want this Muddy Buddy.
I took the Muddy Buddies because I knew my where was I married? I wasn't married at that point, right? So my fiance at that time loves Muddy Buddies. I'm like, I'm gonna grab her Muddy Buddies. So I found the Muddy Buddies bag. I pull it out. I slap it on the counter. Dusty just put the super glue on the counter, and I'm like, okay, this is one. So he scans the super glue. Then he scans the Muddy Buddy, and then he looks at me, and he's like, Muddy Buddy, Buddy, Buddy. I'm like, what? Excuse me? Muddy Buddy, Buddy, Buddy. I'm like, yeah, Muddy Buddy. Yeah. That's what I want. And he's like, no, Muddy Buddy, 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 Buddy. I'm like, yo, what are you trying to do?
I'm like, Teddy, just pay the man.
So sad. I'm like, dude, this guy is my race, or is the same color as me, and I can't understand him. I feel so bad. And he's like, he's getting so riled up. We never bought the Muddy Buddies. We left. We slapped the $6 for the super glue, right? We go all the way back, and you know what ends up happening? They're like, oh, one of the waiters had super glue in there, so you guys didn't even need to go. So we had this entire adventure, that the wedding doesn't even know about. We're like, yo, we just drove 20 minutes to a convenience store.
You're like, Teddy, there's no convenience store in Thompsonville. Where did you guys go?
That's exactly what they said. As soon as we come back, guys, there's nothing around here.
It's the ghost of 7-Eleven. All I know is we walked out of there, and Teddy goes, of course the guy had to be fucking Indian.
I did. And I'm not even trying to be racist. It's just I see the stereotype. Even my brother, he's a doctor, I'm an engineer. It's the stereotypes are so strong, and I'm just I have to say something. My mind just speaks. I'm so transparent.
Yep.
That was the money buddy, the money buddy. And so we have a running joke. We're like, hey, buddy. And like, yeah, buddy. So we have Dusty, we got buddy. It's been wild. We've had some adventures.
Streams just with one token.
Yeah.
Was that like mapped out over time, or it just kind of happened like that?
No, we mapped it out over time. Like we wanted to hit a lot of different key points in real estate and development. And there's a lot of different subcategories within real estate and development that you can really kind of sink your teeth into. So commercial real estate has always been a huge, moneymaker. Flipping houses, things like that as an individual, it can be lucrative. It's very time consuming and it takes a lot of resources. Yep. But it can be very lucrative. It just depends. So people often kind of scale back to what they can do, what the resources available are, and what their bigger vision is, right? So if you are a contractor and you like to, buy cheap homes, flip them, you can make a good living at it. So we're thinking on a much larger scale and how we can do it. So that's just kind of one piece. And we're not really, when I'm talking about residential land development, like we're not buying homes that we want to refurbish. We're actually buying the land that's bare, and then we're going to develop the entire land and piece it off by zones and create housing on these areas. So, right now we're looking like domestic, like locally to where I am now, and where I kind of operate where we're at. But there's tons of opportunity, in the United States, especially where we can make just a ton of money in real estate. Like real estate is probably the most consistent sources of revenue out there right now, as far as for investment purposes. I know we had a big.
I hate to tell them, but that's not true right now.
That's not true right now. Why?
Real estate investment for commercial businesses. Like I said, everyone's working from home. It's no longer what it used to be. Commercial businesses are hurting. They're like 60% occupied. All right. So if you only have 60% of your tenants, you're going to be losing money. It's a lot. It's hurting real bad right now. Now, if he's going to get everything on auction, sure, he's getting fire sales, he's getting short sales. But he just goes, yeah, lots of opportunities in the United States to make money. Okay. All right. Cool. It's not really saying anything.
Oh, man.
Back in 08, 09. But since then, it's recovered nicely. So, regardless of kind of what the economy is doing, you can always find areas.
This? What about
gentrification? Gentrification areas.
What is that?
I don't know what he means by what about it.
Okay.
It's
clarify your question.
Like it's not all. He's not like it's not all one particular area they're investing in. So if he's investing in different areas, then like they could spread it, and that's where they're going to be lucrative. It's like, okay, we have some low income housing, we have some real estate investment trust, we have some regular housing. Like it's kind of what I think that he's going for. What he's asking, I'm not 100% sure, because I know I kind of hyped on that. It is. Real estate's not awful for housing right now. Housing's like through the roof on some of those things. Like people can't afford houses, so they're renting a lot. It's not wrong with that. Like you do need livable housing and stuff like that to be renting for. But he's just saying, you can do all these different things, but he's not really targeting a market, is where I'm coming with.
Debbie Downer
is on the map.
Yeah, I am a Debbie Downer.
Still producing people.
Yeah, we're unfortunately that's what we get labeled, and all we're doing is stating like, hey, this is your experience. I'm not even the one saying this, but trust me, I'll wake up tomorrow. The wolf pack will be like, oh, Teddy, here you go, fudding again. I'm like, bro, I didn't even say.
I would wear that with a badge of honor. Yep, you got me. Like I said, Dusty Futterson. That's what I am.
Dusty Futterson. You're gonna have to change your name. Dusty
I'm gonna have to change it.
Lucrative in real estate, just a matter of finding those areas, right? So if you're in Timbuktu, Colorado, you may not be able to flip houses. You may not be able to make a ton of money, but I promise you there's a ton of other places that are booming. So right now, we're kind of, in Texas, it's a very quickly developing state. So there's a lot of areas to make some big moves.
I do feel like that is true, because I even heard that Silicon Valley, and by the way, guys, Dusty Tillerson in the house, like the stream, help us out with the YouTube gods rise in the analytics. They already demonetized me, Dusty, because I say Ganja Goons. My following is called Ganja Goons, right? So I keep saying Ganja Goons. They hear it and they're like, Teddy must be smoking or talking about weed on his. I'm like, no, I don't even.
That's
what's
just your last name. That's just your last name.
Exactly.
They don't understand.
Smash that like, clickety clack that like, as Rodney likes to say.
Where we're at right now. But there's a lot of other states that are making moves too that will eventually branch out to as well.
So that's what I was trying to say, right? So the Silicon Valley portion is moving to Texas. They said a lot of people are leaving California and going to Texas. So there could be a booming industry in Texas. Because even when I worked for the Affordable Care Act, I was in Texas. I flew. Right. You know, I flew every day, Monday through Thursday, to different states working on the Affordable Care Act. Guys, I know this guy in real life. He knows the amount I have traveled.
So
just to
you are right. Silicon Valley is leaving. There are data centers that are opening up that people will need. So he's not wrong with that. I just don't think he doesn't have the strategy for him to be the company that owns them. How is he going to get in there? Like he's bypassing everything and saying, oh, we're going to promise you this. We're going to promise you that. And it's just, I don't know. Like that's what it's all with. I know we're ripping him into him like, we know. I mean, I feel like all the investors in the coin are just waiting for it to pump anyways, and they're just going to sell out. So I don't really believe in the project either. You know what I mean? I feel like they all bought it in the top, and they all want to pump it so they can sell out.
Yo, by the way, Dooney Isa. Well, commercial/home areas that are run down, low income, but large investors come in and renovate near the borders of bad area touching nice areas.
Yep, that happens. He's not wrong. Yep, that people do that all the time. Look what happened with Brooklyn.
What happened with Brooklyn?
Brooklyn was run down, and then you had everyone coming in. And they started raising.
Bro, we went to Rolling Loud in Brooklyn. We had a great time, right?
Yeah, we did. We did go to Rolling Loud in Brooklyn.
Guys, my Instagram is doxed as well. You can see me. You can see Dusty there as well. I went with him to Rolling Loud with my brother. We go. What? This is our second time going.
Yes.
Dusty, was that your first?
It was my first. It was your second.
Okay. Like the cricket clack button. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Maybe it's just me, but does the real estate thing seem like it's out of left field?
It is. It's a lucrative. It's an actual good business model. If he was going through the actual right channels, instead he's going through crypto and he's trying to get people like. Because he's not wrong. It is good. Real estate, if you're in a business that's real estate, you're usually going to turn a profit if you run it correctly. There are enough things. Real estate, usually, it's a safe investment. But like when he's doing it through crypto, it's just like, yeah, well, obviously he's doing it through something. It seems weird. It seems weird.
It does seem weird because before this, it was healthcare, and I work in healthcare apps. You already know the clients that I have in healthcare. So when the previous token was Lily Finance, I said something about it. I'm like, there's no app here. Even if they make an app, United Healthcare, Cigna, Aetna, they own the space that they would just, blow them out of the water. Like it ain't gonna happen. Yeah, and then immediately after they walked away, SaitaRealty comes out, and now you tell me the same thing. It's like, all that seems is like the labeling changed, but the same thing is happening in the back end.
Yeah, we call those Ponzi schemes.
I call those white label applications where it's always the same application. You just change the label, you change the logo, right? You change the font. That's it.
Dab Tool 420.
Brand new website, revolutionary website.
Dab Tool 420. I don't know if you're spreading rumors. He's arrested for panhandling. Wait,
Dab Tool?
Yeah,
wait.
I don't think he's been arrested.
You already went down here. Yeah, Russ was arrested. No.
We don't know if that's true. I can't confirm or deny that. That's rumors. It's hearsay.
So blue collar crypto. I've been a contractor for 20 years. Russ or anyone on his Saitama team can't pull off development of land, especially when they are still in crypto development kindergarten. So I think in this AMA he says he has partners that he'll work with to get this made or something like that.
Well,
right?
Yeah. If that's true, I haven't watched the whole thing. Maybe he does name them. That's something he does need to do. Like, who are your partners? Who are your team? Who do you trust this with? Like, I'm sure there's some level of there's some things where you can't disclose everything, but I don't know. Like I said, a lot of promises, just not a lot of information behind it. And that's just questions. It's just questions.
This one was interesting. Numbnuts, right? I'm just kidding. Normally, you just can't airdrop into any industry and hit the ground running, stacking profit.
No, that doesn't work anywhere. Like that's never worked. Like hell, even Microsoft was running out of like a garage. I mean, his investment was from his parents. So like that just didn't happen. He got his initial investment from his parents to get his startup company. So I don't
Wait,
know.
did he? Oh yeah, I think he
Yeah,
got
he
his
did.
first. Yeah. I think
Yeah, he
you're
did.
right.
All these billionaires, well, they are smart. They did work hard. They got everything, but like they didn't just start from nothing. It wasn't like $0. I mean, you need an investment cost. You can't start paying people things like legal fees and whatnot, and all those other registration fees and all that stuff without having any money. Like I get that.
Yo, so this is a hilarious thing. So Blue Collar Crypto says anyone can hire someone, and that person can hire someone, and that person can hire someone. So this is something I deal with, right? When I first like someone approaches me for technology work, they think that I'm just one guy, and this one guy, I have no one behind me. I have to go find people. I have to like go find. I already have developers. I already have a team. They literally sit there and work on clients' projects, right? So I'm like, I'm not hiring anyone else. I'm not going, and they're not going to go hire anyone else. This is already an established way, and that is much easier than trying to start a project where you're like, okay, I literally have nothing. I'm starting from the ground up, you know.
Yeah.
And now it's like I need to find someone, and now that guy could hire someone else. But now I've lost this revenue. I need to say something about the revenue that I lost, you know, or the profits that I've taken out. It gets crazy. It doesn't make it productive or profitable. You now have a chain of like 4 or 5 people, and the guy that's doing the work is getting like 10%, and 90% is being moved in these hands, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
I don't see some big investment company working with Russ with having the legal background he has. I do not know, Rorschach. You gotta elaborate more because Dusty is new to this, and for me to explain the background that Russ
I
has.
understand the legal background. I mean, I don't know what Russ has. Like, is the legal trouble he's been in, or does he have like an actual? He has.
There is legal trouble. Rodney's a big guy. He knows. I watched both sides. I watched the.
Oh, he's been in trouble with legal disputes.
They call it fraud.
I'm being more technical.
Okay.
Without calling it fraud. Legal trouble, yes. Legal trouble.
Legal trouble, yes.
People may not have agreed with what he's saying is true, and he may have had some disputes legally with that stuff. Calling someone fraudulent, I'm not gonna say that, but legal disputes. If he's been in legal disputes, well, that usually makes people a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's exactly. Big investment companies won't deal with him because of his tattoos alone. Tattoos don't mean anything. It's freaking 21st century. Like tattoos, I've seen some big CEOs that run companies like that have tattoos. It doesn't mean anything.
Name one.
So, you know, I gotta
wait.
I gotta
You say name one?
Yeah, name
Vivint in Provo, Utah. The CEO has a Ferrari. He parks it right in front of the building. I did a performance engineering thing for him through Accenture, one of the companies I worked at. I'm completely doxed, right? You can go look it up. I was a performance engineer. From performance engineer, I became an architect. From architect, I director, and now I just help wherever I can. And now I'm helping my dad's company. You already know about my dad's company. He's been in the United States for 25 years, and he started his own company. I will help him. That's what you do, you know. It's the Indian way.
What?
Mark my work. Russ will walk away with free real estate, which investors funded within Russ we trust.
Yeah, that's what everyone's worried about, that he's going to do that, and he's putting himself protection by having this LLC set up as like the buffer, so they can't go after him, and they can only go after the LLC. That's what I was worried about. That's what I can kind of see. Which, you know, good for him. And, you know, like I said, there's suckers in the world. So if they're actually going to give him all his money to buy this real estate, well, there, Russ gets away with it. All right, cool. I mean, who's really at fault at that point?
Yeah, I really don't know. I actually just fast forwarded just a little bit. I'm just to see what they're talking about. I'm at 35 minutes now.
Yep.
Just about a project, even though the information most of the time is right there in front of them. Like all the AMAs that I've ever done, I have answered the same question 1,000 times, right? At least 1,000 times. If it's a new question, right, or if it's something that comes up that's relative and I haven't addressed it, then usually
we're fast forwarded,
and it doesn't have any ounce of realism behind it whatsoever. People are just saying that just to be disingenuous and fund a project, right?
Oh my God, we're still talking about funding a project.
I'm funding him. No,
and he's like, I actually am going to sell my position in a few investments because I don't like how I don't like how the community is acting. And I was like, wow, I'm super surprised. But then I'm not, because you can not just scare people, but as a businessman, people running around and attacking each other is very well, it's not business. It's not true business etiquette. And if we're all business investors, right? I'm an investor. Russ, I guarantee, I know for a fact you probably own multiple different tokens that are currently in the ecosystem, in the altcoin system, right?
I do. I'm a huge fan of crypto. Like even before say time, like I've been in crypto for a long time. I've made a lot of money in crypto. I am all about, diversifying. I own several. If I think it's a good coin and I think it has a good use case and the development team is solid and the community is solid, I'll buy it. I don't need anybody to show it to me. I look it up myself. And if I feel like it's a good investment, I feel like
that's exactly how I felt when he said that.
Yeah,
too.
he pumps
That's
and dumps
exactly how I
shitcoin.
felt.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's making money one day.
Yeah,
So we're gonna make a degen token, Dusty, or a ganja or a Teddy token. Literally, we're gonna make a token.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Is that what you're saying?
But instead, you're gonna try and rug pull it. Rodney's gonna try and rug pull it. I'll be like, nah. This is multi-sig wallet.
Yeah, you're gonna say it's authorization, but you're gonna have all the authorizations. You're gonna rug pull it from me and him.
And then when no one's looking, I dip away.
I'm like, why the hell did all my positions go to zero? That doesn't make any sense. Tasia already in India. How the fuck do I get him back? Thanks for the money, dummies.
See, wait, why would I go back to India, bro? I'm not. They don't even want me there. They're like, you can't eat spicy food. You sweat like anything. Like, you just leave. Go back. I'm like, all right.
Well, there's no place safe for you then.
All right, so we've been going for about an hour now. I do want to wrap it up. Dusty, it was great having you on the stream, and I believe now we can call you part of the Ganja Goons as well. Welcome to the Ganja Goons.
Proud to be part of a gang.
I know. I feel like the Ganja Goons gang. It rolls off the tongue nicely. You're now part of us. You are in. You are now.
GG.
You are now a triple G. All right. So I there is one more thing. It is now 10:50. SaitaMask's swap is supposed to turn on. I'm gonna be trying the Saitama swap. I have Ethereum ready to go. I did sell Terra. I 2x'd on Terra. I pulled my initial investment out, so I'm ready to buy whatever my next investment is. So if it dips, I'll buy it on the dip. Adam Shelton said at 15s, I'll go in as well. Other than that, guys, I think that's about it. Dusty, I appreciate you having you here. Let me give you a quick shout out to your Twitter, right? Let me see. So it's on the stream. Dusty. 1 second here. Boop. Minimize. Share. This is the only thing that takes me a while, but once I get it, we're good. So Dusty, this is his at Dusty Tillerson, Tillerson. Give him a follow. Shout out to him. You need some advice. You need some financial advice. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't
not a
give
financial advisor.
All right, guys. Thanks. Thanks for joining us, Dusty. Thanks for coming on. Until next time.